This is episode 170, and it's titled Heal the Healer. This is part 2 of 4, The Mind, on alternative health tools, where together we discover alternative healthcare tools and explore integrative healing philosophies for both individuals and practitioners.
Hello to all. This is Angie with Alternative Health Tools.
And I'm Lisa with Alternative Health Tools from across the pond in the UK.
Yes. And I'm in the US. And this is part of our 4-part Heal the Healer series. And today we are talking about the mind.
Amazing. I'm really looking forward to this series. And should we share what the other parts are going to be for anybody who's listening out of sequence?
Yes, we're going to talk about the body, which we are going to refer to as vehicle. The mind, which is our GPS, right? Where are we going? The spirit, which is all about the zip code. And of course, reality, as we talk about in another part about getting off the unicorn and realizing there is reality out there. But today it is all about the mind.
I think this is a really important topic, actually, isn't it? Because what's been going on recently, there's a lot of fear out there. And actually, we talk about, our thoughts create our reality. And, our thoughts, sometimes we feel like we can't take back control of our thoughts, but actually we can when we set that GPS in our mind, can't we?
We can. And, I'm just going to encourage everyone listening is who's setting your GPS. Yes. Right? So this is our passion part. What drives us, right? What guides us is that passion inside, not necessarily a purpose. We're going to talk about the purpose, but the passion is really the fuel in that vehicle. And the GPS is where we're going with it, what's guiding us, and understanding that right now we have a lot of fear out there and fear that some's legit. I mean, I'm not going to discount fear as not being real to us. Fear is real, but is it reality? Right? Is it mind-based? Is someone feeding you the fear or giving you the components to make fear soup? That really shouldn't be fear soup, right? So the GPS is all about where do you want to go? Where does your passion lead you? What's driving you?
And it's living deliberately, isn't it? And I saw a beautiful quote on social media the other day, and it said, your 2022 is your book, and each month is a new chapter, and you get to write your own story. And that can start at any time, can't it? And that is what we're talking about with the GPS today. If we don't deliberately create our chapters in our story, then we're never going to get to where we want to go, because we're going to be just meandering. And like you say, maybe living through fear or where we're getting our information from. And it's for us to work from the inside out rather than from the outside in.
That's such a good point. Because passion is burning inside, right? It's not on the side of the road. You don't go to passion. That's something that's burning inside that's been given you. And when you're using that GPS as your guidance, right? That guidance of where we're going, that is the new chapter each and every day. And so many people start off in January with, I have all these, lofty visions and ideas and expectations. And then they hit roadblocks and they really haven't worked with programming their GPS or programming their mind with these roadblocks. And so they get a detour and then all at once they're off-road traveling, right? When before they were on this smooth road. And then we have a tendency, if we're not working with the mind, to go back then to those bad habits or those lower vibrational experiences that then start changing our GPS, right? The passion's still there. You started it, but something takes you off road and the GPS gets confused and something's jacking up the signal. And that's really what we're talking about, is making each chapter of your book, 12 chapters in your book for 2022, as an experience going through life. I mean, that's exciting in itself. And understanding that also allows us to know that passion's still there. So when you fall off the road or hit a ditch, that's your sign to say, what's going on in my mind, right? Yeah. What is it in my mind that I need reprogramming or clearing or healing that's driving me, for lack of better words, right? We're talking about a vehicle, driving me back to these bad habits or this self-sabotage or this consistent pattern that folks didn't work last year. It's not going to work this year, right? It's that mind shift that has to do with the GPS.
I think that's beautifully said. And we're talking about passion there, Angie. The passion's there to start with. And that's the feeling that comes from within, isn't it? It's not something that, like you say, you pick up on the outside. It's something that's burning within inside us all. And at some point, if that feeling dissipates and another feeling takes over, that's when we go off-road. That's when we get lost. And it's reconnecting with that inner feeling of passion. So what was your why? What was your passionate why when you started that? And how's that tailed off? So what needs healing, like you say, to get back to that position of passion and fire and excitement from within?
Yeah, Lisa, you're so right. And, we have a tendency as the human beings to do human doing instead, right? And we have this tendency that when we hit a road bump, when we hit a pothole, when there's a detour, when there's a slow down sign, or there's a, whatever it is, when you're driving this vehicle, this passion of your GPS, where you're going in life, making your chapters, we have this tendency to step back and justify lack of being, right? We just think if we plow through the dead end road, that's going to take us there, and it doesn't. So this is a beautiful time in the history, one of the best times we've had in history, to look at those emotional triggers, those potholes that are presenting, right? To those moments that you're like, I'm going on the path, and then it's March, or then it's July, and then, well, this happened and that happened, and et cetera, et cetera. And, I'm as guilty as everyone else. I mean, I have those moments of, I just don't want to do this today, but it doesn't move me towards the end goal, to the destination, right? Where I'm going. And then the GPS gets confused, and maybe it needs a new battery, maybe it needs whatever. But the challenge as we move through our journey of life is to look at, this is our passion. And we talk about purpose in another series, another segment of this, but this is our passion. This is our GPS. Now, what do I need to put in my mind to help my GPS stay charged? Is that time off? Is that new friends? Is that different friends? Is that what I'm listening to? I mean, it could be what you're eating, which we talk about that in another series, but what is it that you're connecting to feed your mind to keep this GPS charged and ready?
Yeah, it's so important, isn't it? Like you say, what are you feeding your mind? And if you're feeling that passion, then you're feeding your mind your right thoughts, because the passion's being released based on your thoughts. And then when we get lost, the mind's feeding different thoughts, which is releasing a different feeling of confusion or deflation, or, that kind of feeling of I can't be bothered anymore, it's too hard. And it's reconnecting with that passion, I think, no matter where you are in the year and where you are with your goal. If the goal's important to you and you're passionate enough about it, then you will achieve it. It shouldn't always be time-based, because sometimes there's a greater time other than our time, isn't there? And I love what you said there about, is it that you need to surround yourself with different people, or is it that you need to take a rest? Because often when I'm coaching, I say to people, move and do things when you're feeling passionate and energized to do things. And then when you're not feeling it, that's the time to rest, recover, heal, and really get back into your energy, so then you can move forwards again. So it's okay if you're not feeling like I'm ready to move, or I'm not feeling passionate today and I should be doing this. It's changed that should to actually, what can I do instead today that's going to help me tomorrow? Maybe that's just a rest day today, so that you can reconnect with that passion and get moving again tomorrow.
That's so perfect. I did a international speaking is what I do. And I did a talk in Canada on stop shoulding all over yourself.
I love that.
Women, I think, are worse. Maybe it's because I am a woman. And that's why I'm saying this. We should do this. We should look this way, et cetera, et cetera. But to your point, we as human beings have a tendency not to be. Mm-hmm. We have that tendency to do. And so sometimes we're running, like I say, with our hair on fire to avoid the obvious, to stop. As you stated earlier, Lisa, when we're talking, it comes from the inside, right? It's not an outside job. So we have a tendency to go, do, keep busy, so that we don't have to look in the mirror and say, what part of my mind shift do I own? Right? Yes. I mean, I've had to do it. Recently, I've had to go, girl, you got time to look in the mirror, time to mind shift, right? And so as you go through taking those little steps, and this is what I would encourage all of our listeners, take the little step. What is that book that you can read a chapter a week? I didn't say a 9. I said a week, right? What is that? Or what can you listen to that's not just motivational or inspirational, but resonates with your soul? Because Lisa, you were right in the fact that we have this passion and we have this GPS and we have this goal and we're clicking along, but then something happens. So what is it inside? I'm going to go back to what we started with. What's inside of you that's begging to be healed, that's coming to the top of your mind? You know, that crazy random thought you have isn't crazy and random, right? There's a higher force going, hello, McFly, can you hear me, right? Anyone's watched that movie? So what is it inside that's asking for you to just be in that soft moment, that moment of journaling, that moment of a nature walk, that moment of being? What's being asked to be healed? And whether you're getting healing through shamanic services, I do a lot of shamanic work, you're coaching, or whatever the third party is, get someone that understands you, that's been through what you've been through, so that they can resonate. Both of us have experienced autoimmune disease. Well, we're the ones to go to if you want to figure out how to fix that stuff, right? So the GPS is all about your mind. And so when we're talking about heal the healer, we're talking about the practitioner or anyone that gives. Oh, well, that's everyone, I think, just about. How do you be to start healing yourself when it comes to the mind?
Yeah, it's so powerful. The mind is so powerful, isn't it? Whether we think we can or we think we can't, then we're probably right, as Henry Ford says. Right. And it's so true. And, when you say about, taking a walk or reading a book, often if nothing's coming to me and I'm trying to do some business planning or something like that, I just take myself off for a walk and just be in the moment rather than trying to force the doing to come through, thinking about ideas. And often when I'm taking a walk, that's when I start getting these ideas pinging through and I'm like, oh, I hadn't even thought of that. And like you say, it's like there's a higher being going on. It's like coming through you. Take notice of your thoughts and how's it feel? Like check in with your feelings, because if it feels good, if it feels exciting, if you feel passionate about it, then you're on the right GPS. You're going down the right road. If it feels a bit icky and a bit awkward and a bit like hard work, then check in with your thoughts and see what's going on. Is there some healing work to be done? Is it that, you're trying to force something down the wrong direction through fear or through something else? And often our minds can give us a lot of feedback when we're still enough to notice our own thoughts. I think that's really key here. Is one of the biggest things that I learned was to notice my own thoughts. And by noticing what I was feeling, I was able to check in with my thoughts. Before then, I just knew I didn't feel great, but I didn't really know what was going on. So like you say, the outside world was filtering in, checking in with my thoughts, and my thoughts were running the show for me. And actually now becoming the observer of my thoughts has really, really helped to reprogram my sat nav. So the first kind of suggestion I'd say to our listeners is to really be still enough for long enough to check in with your feelings and notice your thoughts. Become the observer of your thoughts. Don't be scared by them, but look at them for feedback and see if you're going in the right direction.
I love it. I love it. I always say you have to get away in order to get away, right?
Yes.
So sometimes we have to get out of the chaos and the noise in order to get away to ultimately get out of the chaos and the noise. And that's beautiful, the way you just put that, and understanding the takeaway we want from this particular Heal the Healer series. And this segment on the mind is, I'm going to really ask you to step back and challenge yourself on, if you're not willing or you can't make time or don't have time to be, doesn't have to be every day, to be, then I'm going to challenge you to look at your schedule and say, what is it that's creating this chaos that I'm self-sabotaging myself and preventing myself from allowing myself, giving myself permission to be? And to be can be 15 minutes, it doesn't have to be 4 hours on the couch with your legs crossed. No. it can be any moment. So, and then when those thoughts come up, to really journal that. And I just want to, when I'm working with individuals, I don't ask you to go get a fancy journal and whatever. Get a piece of paper, get a writing utensil, not typing. You want a kinesthetic write, and just write your thoughts and then burn those. Don't keep them in some cute little thing so you can go back and look at them later, right? Those are emotions that have popped up. And in a Native American culture, we burn those, we throw sage on those, release those to God, and allow Mother Earth and all of the elements to repurpose those for the most benevolent outcome, and ultimately release them from your body so that you may move on to your passion and to get back on your GPS guiding. So one of my takeaways I would love to see is for everyone to be able to be, even if it's just one day a week, to practice, as Lisa said, recognizing your thoughts. Where are they coming from? And if you find continued self-sabotage or continued lack of motivation, then getting with that journaling and where's that coming from and what's causing that and what's causing that and what's causing that. And you may find, again, this is a shamanic point of view, a generational aspect. You may find an ancestral aspect. And for those individuals that believe in past lives, you may find a past life residue that is still continuing to not honor you so much into your current field and your current world. And so I just really encourage you as you move into understanding the mind, that I'm not suggesting you put your head in the sand and think nothing's going on, right, Lisa? We all know things are going on. However, what are you feeding your mind on a daily basis, and who's feeding it? And then how are you using that for the most benevolent outcome to drive your purpose with your GPS?
I love that. And feeding your mind, what immediately springs to my mind is, are you feeding your dreams and your desires, or are you feeding the what's going on right now, what's going wrong, what you need to fix? Because we can often get caught up in the daily to-do list and forget about our GPS in terms of our dreams. And you know, if we don't have those dreams, I mean, I've just written my book, Be Happy Now, because it's not, our happiness isn't dependent on something happening to us, or, you know, me publishing my book, or me getting, you know, a contract or a new client, or fitter or healthier or slimmer, or whatever these goals that we have. My happiness isn't dependent on that. Happiness is that inside job where we're talking about passion comes from. But these dreams and the goals and the passion within us, they excite us. They help us move forward with purpose. And we're going to talk about that in another session. So it's about having that GPS to inspire us to move forwards and be the best version of us, and not get caught up in this negative cycle of thoughts and the to-do list, but know that your happiness is the journey rather than just the destination. Your happiness is along the way as you're navigating through your GPS, and you want to keep your thoughts on the frequency of passion and happiness, as opposed to I'll be happy when I get there. And I think that's really important, what you said earlier about burning the writing to release it back to Mother Nature so we can let our bodies heal as well. That's why this is part of a 4-part, Heal the Healer, because we know that the mind is so connected to the body. And if we're having thoughts of fear and stress, then we can too hold that in the body. And it's about clearing the whole lot, isn't it? And that's why we're raising our consciousness on our thoughts and our mindset today.
Absolutely. So again, this is a 4-part series of Heal the Healer. This is all about your GPS. This is all about your mind. And we are challenging you to look and see what changes, what adjustments, what correct coordinates do you need to put into your GPS in order to have the most benevolent outcome. We know you can do it. We believe in you, and we believe everyone. I personally will tell you, I believe everyone has genius within themselves, and it's our time to shine. The world needs our genius to shine, and you do that by having that dream. And Lisa said it beautifully, that having that dream is our hope meter. And whatever that dream is that the body, mind, and spirit can align with is your hope meter. And we want that hope meter to be high, and you want that purpose. Again, we're going to talk about that in another series, but it's all fueled by the passion, and that passion is the electrical grid for your GPS. So any final thoughts, Lisa, on all about the mind on Heal the Healer?
Oh, I think I love that hope. It's such a beautiful word, isn't it? And to give people hope, I'd encourage them to write a gratitude list, because when we're present with our thoughts and gratitude, everything we're grateful for that we've got now, and it could just be for running hot water, or the friendship, or the conversation we had with somebody today who we bumped into in the street. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be something huge. And I think when we focus on gratitude, that repurposes the mindset to help us move forward on our dream of hope.
I absolutely believe it. Again, this is Angie. I am thrilled, we both are, that you're here on Alternative Health Tools. We hope you're enjoying this 4-part series on Heal the Healer. And most importantly, we are challenging you to take action and truly align that GPS with your passion.
And we'd love to hear from you. If you're having any breakthroughs, you can go to alternativehealthtools.com and you'll be able to click on the blue microphone and leave us a voice note.
All right, until we see you on the next series, God bless and make it an epic day. See ya.
Take care.